Is presented by Calvo's Insurance, serving Guam for 80 years. Matson, gold sponsor of the 2018 Micro Games in Yap. The all-new 2018 Kona by Hyundai, available at Cars Plus. IP&E, fueling excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, located in Tamuning and Dedido. Always open, always local.
Ahead on primetime, an incident at the local college involving a halfway house inmate is investigated. Surveillance video just released. Plus, a great turnout or a not quite the best? We are hearing mixed reviews over this year's Liberation festivities. And it was another promising month for Guam's #1 industry. Nestor Lacanto has the breakdown of our latest tourism arrivals.
Hafide and good evening. Disturbing video was released to KUAM. The images showing a halfway house inmate apparently left alone with a woman known to him at the Guam Community College. The inmate is clearly seen engaging in sexual acts and in some parts allegedly assaulting that woman. The incident going before the prison's disciplinary hearing board. But did prison officials carry out their investigation by the book? Here's tonight's top story.
This is the school security video of a halfway house inmate on educational release. The inmate at the Guam Community College back in April of this year could be seen in this clip sitting with a woman known to him, and at one point the inmate appears to be choking her. In another clip, the inmate exposes himself. He's then seen hitting the woman with an open hand and grabbing her by the neck. The woman appeared to be crying at this point. Other clips show the pair engaged in sexual acts and walking into empty halls on a Saturday. The incident is in no doubt disturbing, even for prison leaders.
Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, when we found about it, we met with the GCC president and met with their security folks, got a copy of the video, and like I said, he's being dealt with appropriately here at DOC.
La Morena confirms that the inmate is Alex Castro. The incident going before DOC's disciplinary hearing board, where Castro pleaded guilty to multiple sanctions filed against him. The board in early June ruling that Castro be sanctioned to serve disciplinary segregation for the following violations: engaging in sexual acts, any violation or attempt to violate the rules and conditions of the plea agreement, indecent exposure, violating a condition of a community-type program, being in an unauthorized area, and unauthorized contact with the public. But the board also suspended any additional time Castro would serve for the sanctions and ordered he be sent back to the halfway house under a 6-month probation period.
It's an honesty issue. They knew the rules and regulations, and once we found out about the incident, he went through the DHB. DOC has rescinded his educational classes, and he will be going through the DHB, and he will be punished duly. He will be taking classes within the DOC in regards to personal development and so forth. So in order to have those classes, you have to be in the RSAT program. And so the next best thing would be put him in the halfway house, and he will be taking those classes.
The woman in the video declined to press charges against Castro.
It's your interpretation. The female individual he was with did give us her statement that she was not beaten, and that, so we have to take it with that.
But where were the officers? The timestamp in the video shows Castro was left without supervision for about 3 hours.
There's no excuse for that. But again, he was supposed to be in the library, my understanding. And, there are a lot of times where an officer will move around and check on all 11. And, time does lapse. And so, but he has been punished duly, and we're looking at the incident.
We should note the halfway house is for inmates on educational or work release, a path towards their rehabilitation to go back out into the community. So did prison leaders follow their own policies and procedures when investigating this case?
If you give too much of a punishment, do you now go back to reversion, right? So in situations like this, it was a one-time situation. He was punished. And so what we try to do now is we let him take these personal classes within DOC to ensure that he doesn't make these mistakes again.
We'll let you decide.
We should make clear that the GCC surveillance video was not released by anyone at the college. GCC officials say they have instructed the prison to ensure corrections officers are monitoring inmates on educational release. The college is also revisiting the memo they have with DepCorp to determine if any changes need to be made. Ultimately, it's an effort to ensure the safety of all at the campus. Now to that robbery reported at a local bakery today. Take a look at the suspect's getaway car. It happened around 10:30 Monday morning outside the Crown Bakery in Barragata. The victim was carrying bakery money en route to the bank when he was approached by a man wielding a hammer and demanding cash. The suspect fled in a blue Toyota coupe. Manager Hanzo Morado tells us the employee was not hurt. Police say the male suspect is only described as possibly Chamorro, having a full beard and wearing a red long-sleeve shirt. Anyone with information is asked to call police or Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. This quick-thinking woman was able to get help and flee from her kidnapper. Court documents state the woman was at a Harmon bar late Friday night when she was taken against her will by a man known to her. 39-year-old Elaine Cassidy Rengobay is charged with kidnapping, felonious restraint, family violence, strangulation, and terrorizing. He is accused of going into the bar and punching the victim's boyfriend before he forced her into his car as she screamed for help. The victim was able to convince Rengobay to go back to the bar so she could get her car. Once in the driver's seat, she began shouting and honking the car horn. That's when Rengobay allegedly put his hand over her mouth to keep her from shouting for help. When she resumed to driving, she intentionally ran 2 red lights, hoping to get pulled over. Once a police cruiser pulled up, she jumped out of the car and yelled for help. A heated argument turns violent and sends one man to the hospital with stab wounds. The incident occurred last Thursday at a Tumon construction site. The victim sustained stab wounds to his back, torso, and right shoulder and suffered from a punctured lung. According to court documents, the men involved are all construction workers. Though a manager intervened, the confrontation continued. Charged in this case are 22-year-old Io Nafini and 19-year-old Erno Manor. Both were arrested for aggravated assault with a special allegation for possession and use of a deadly weapon in the commission of a felony. We are just moments away from our election show, D18, tonight. Sitting down with our Nestor Locanto is Republican senatorial candidate Harold Cruz and Democratic candidates Maria Lourdes Milligan and Jermaine Alerta. It's completely interactive, meaning you control the conversation. All you have to do is tune in on KUAM News Facebook page and put your questions for the candidates in the comments section. More refund checks are in the mail. $3.1 million has been mailed out to more than 1,000 families today. The administration says the checks cover a status A returns that qualify for refunds or EITC up to February 12th. So if that's you, then you may want to check those mailboxes. And stick around for more news here on Primetime. Coming up, a look at what officials have to say about this year's Liberation festivities.
There are more ways to experience KUAM News than any other source on Guam. Download the KUAM News app for your Apple or Android device for 24/7 news, sports, videos, weather, streaming of KUAM radio, and important news alerts. And stay connected at home with Guam's first app for Apple TV. All available now from the App Store.
A simple handshake. That's all Jake Calvo needed when he started his company. Today, 80 years later, we like to say thank you to all of you who have taken our hand in trust. Thank you to the dreamers. Thank you to the realists. Thank you to the family-oriented. Thank you to the entrepreneurial. Thank you to those climbing the corporate ladder. And to the ones starting a new life together. Thank you to the traditionalists and the edgy. To the young at heart and the old souls. Thank you to the daring, to the protective, to the practical. Thank you to the hopeful. To all of you from all of us, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance. a legacy of trust.
As a nurse, I cared for thousands of patients at their time of greatest need. I know how important it is to have our only public hospital accredited. With your help, Josh and I will change our island's approach to healthcare. We will reduce insurance costs, make sure there are enough beds at GMH, better utilize public health centers, and invest in the latest technology. We will get the job done. I'm in to help get us there, and I humbly ask for your vote.
I'm Lulian Guerrero, and I approve this message.
In this divided world, there are still things that unite us. Great music, thrilling games, and the love for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam, for the love of burgers menu. For a limited time, get an amazing burger for just $11.99. Lunchtime at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
There are more ways to experience Guam via KUAM News, giving you what you want, when you want, and how you want it. From smart devices, Alexa, what's in the news?
Here's your flash briefing.
Over the web, on mobile, on streaming platforms, with immersive, interactive formats, and via social media where it's more than just content, it's conversation. More ways to keep you informed and entertained whenever you want it, wherever you are, on whatever device you're using.
Hafide and welcome back. The Civil Service Commission will hold a hearing next Tuesday on a whistleblower complaint against the hospital. Former Associate Director of Medical Services, Dr. Kazui Shimabukuro, has asked the CSC to investigate retaliation against her for raising allegations of mismanagement by the GMH administration. A CSC staffer reviewed the complaint and, based on the documents submitted, recommended to proceed with an investigation. The doctor has been a vocal critic of GMH leadership at legislative public hearings and in comments to the media. She resigned from GMH citing a hostile work environment and relocated to California. According to CSC Executive Director Peter Calvo, she will be represented by the Guam Federation of Teachers. Calvo says he is not aware if Shimabukuro will be present for next week's hearing. Happy belated Liberation Guam. If you were down at the parade on Saturday, you might have noticed the floats or the lack thereof. The head of the Mayor's Council of Guam saying participation was down this year. Carmen Turlahi has the story.
Music, barbecue, dancing, and more. Parade goers taking in the 74th Liberation Day Parade in the island's capital over the weekend. But some have said it's not the same celebration they've come to know over the years. Mixed reviews floating around after the festivities. GVB Vice President Tony Muña is co-chair of the Liberation Festival.
I think, it was a great turnout. I think the festival went out without a hitch. We had a great turnout over the weekend.
But Agana Heights Mayor Paul McDonald, president of the Mayor's Council, who helped spearhead Guam's 74th Liberation Day Parade, had a slightly different view.
A little bit smaller than last year, and we've noticed that the parade route was not as crowded as last year.
The parade line, no doubt, was shorter with less village participation, and the festival at Paseo lasted shy of 2 weeks. Some of the festival nights even lacked the usual crowds. If you recall, the governor's office took charge of the festival after protests from mayors that last year's carnival was a bust. The issue, the legislature's ban on gambling of sorts at the carnival.
They expect to go and patronize the carnival, but this year maybe there's no excitement like the previous years when the excitement was there, meaning, the games of chance and bingo and all that. people look forward to go.
Give them a chance to gamble at the Liberation Festival. Mayor McDonald says this is what draws crowds to Liberation festivities.
It proves that if there's no games, then there's no excitement and attraction. So I hope that the new legislature would come and reconsider, at least for the Liberation.
Ultimately, the governor's office hopes to finalize costs and attendance numbers in the next week. For now, Muñoz calls the celebration a success, with or without profit.
At this point, I think we in my estimation, I think we just came in on budget. So, and that's really in support of the, the sponsors that came in to help us defray the cost of this event. I think there are things that we could do better in the future, but I think overall, everything went really well. And again, we're just happy that we were able to do this for the people of Guam.
Doing better is the goal as preparations are already underway for the 75th Liberation Day. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Carmen Victoria Turlahi.
You may have come across a viral video capturing a profane racist outburst on a mass transit bus right here on Guam. It's now raising questions about the safety of a transit system that serves hundreds. Chris Barnett has more.
What are you talking about? I'm not saying about that.
You've probably seen the video. Looking like one of those subway videos you see in the States. One woman yelling at another passenger on a mass transit bus, even using racial slurs. Right here on Guam.
That's all you're gonna do, call 911? Because the punk like you that like to run their mouth and call the cops.
Guam Regional Transit Authority Director Rick Augustine telling KUAM News the video is from January. No complaint was ever filed and no action was ever taken, even though Augustine himself saw the video shortly after the incident occurred.
This was sent in January to me by a blind person.
The driver of the bus didn't interfere, and Augustine thinks it's because he may not have noticed what was happening.
He may not have heard it, or he may have realized later on, but it was not reported to me. And typically, if there was an incident, we will take action.
Augustine tells us the woman yelling in the video is a frequent transit rider. He also says since no physical altercation took place, no action was taken. The video appears to document a disagreement between two passengers, with one of the passengers unleashing a loud 2-minute profanity-laced tirade. Augustine asked for people to have sympathy for the woman in the video, who Augustine confirmed was homeless.
Could you imagine yourself waking up in the morning and you're homeless? When you're going to get your next meal? Have you taken a shower? So you're not going to be feeling pretty good. And if any small infraction or you think that you've been slighted, that could cause a person to get loud.
Augustine said transit drivers have been trained to call in any trouble on buses, and this training was put to use in early July when a rider was suspended for trying to fight someone.
The guy left the bus, went out and tried to beat somebody up. And of course, the police got involved.
Augustine wants riders to know safety and security are very important to his agency, which has drawn criticism for unreliable service.
We take any type of violent action in our buses seriously.
He also says passenger safety for transit riders on Guam lags behind the standard in other areas.
In some well-funded transit agencies, if you can look it up, they actually have transit police. That's far from what our budget allows.
And what does Augustine say to bus riders who feel threatened while on the bus?
Call it in. Tell the driver to stop. We want people to enjoy their bus ride. And this incident doesn't happen every day. The majority of our bus riders are normal folks just looking for work and trying to lead a normal life.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Chris Barnett.
June was another record-setting month for tourism arrivals. GVB says Guam welcomed more than 125,000 tourists compared to last June's record of 122,000. But overall, arrivals were off 3.1%, and per capita spending is also lower. Nestor Lacanto reports.
Korean arrivals again lead the way, up 23.5%, but the Japanese market's still down about 24%. And the Koreans, on average, spend about $100 per person less than the Japanese. GVB President and CEO Nate DeKnight.
We like to see Japan come back because it's a good spending market. Korea market is also a good spending market, but it's much bigger family size or travel party size with a lot of families, right? So the children don't spend money, so that kind of waters down a little bit of the spend numbers per pax, but still a very good spending market.
He says, bottom line, we need both a strong Japan and strong Korea to be successful. DeKnight says GVB is encouraged by the surge in seat capacity from Japan for the winter travel season. United and Japan Airlines recently announced several thousand new seats for this fall through early spring.
So lots of new flights coming up on the horizon. So the team's been working really hard to get that extra flight service. Now comes the hard part is we got to fill up all those flights. So we got to make sure we work hard.
Meanwhile, the tiny Russian market got a nice bounce, but DeKnight says as far as Guam tourism is concerned, political relations between Presidents Trump and Putin probably won't have much of an effect, but a more stable ruble against the dollar will.
So we saw, I think, about a 30 or 40% increase from maybe 300 to about 400 rushes. And while that's not a big numbers-wise as far as the arrivals, they do have a long stay and a big spending power.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Sports is next, but first, here's a look at your island weather.
Make every day a plus.
Where can you find a burger inspired by flavors from near and far that mixes the smoky with the sass of the South? Combines the sweetness of summer with the tang of the country for savory, sizzling, unexpected flavors. Well, you can find it at McDonald's. The new Bacon Smokehouse Burger. It's the newest flavor of the signature crafted recipes by McDonald's.
Summer is here, and at Cars Plus and Mighty, that means big savings during our summer clearance event. Right now, save up to $8,000 on select 2018 Ram 1500 SLT Crew Cab, or save $3,250 on a 2018 Chrysler Pacifica, voted Family Car of the Year. 1.99 APR financing is available for qualified buyers. Plus, buy today and receive a Cars Plus value card, where you get 21 cents off per gallon at all Shell stations. Don't miss our summer clearance event going on now at Cars Plus and Mighty. Cars Plus, driven by you.
KUAM Sports is presented by Triple J.
What's up, Guam? Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. If you missed Brogan Walker Sanchez's fight on Invicta FC 30 yesterday afternoon, don't worry, I got you on some highlights courtesy of YouTube. But first off, some running news on how you can help fundraising efforts with Catholic Social Services. Check it out. The 14th annual Run for Hope and Charity 5K will take place this Sunday in front of Chamorro Village. The run is hosted by Catholic Social Services. Showtime is at 5:30 in the morning. Go time scheduled for 6. Advanced registration entry fees are $10 per person. Race day fees goes up to $15 per person. You can register Monday through Friday from 8 in the morning to 5 p.m. at the Catholic Social Service main office in Barragata Heights, behind Department of Revenue and Taxation. Awards will be given out to the top 3 finishers in each division, and T-shirts for the first 500 finishers. Light refreshments and door prizes will also be available. Proceeds to benefit the transitional housing for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault, and for ongoing capital improvement projects. For more information, contact Paula Perez or Janet Blas at 635-1406. Congratulations to Guam's Brogan Walker Sanchez, who remains undefeated in her mixed martial arts career. Brogan is now 6-0 in the cage after she defeated Miranda Maverick in Invicta 30 held in Kansas City, Missouri. Sanchez won the fight via unanimous decision, 30-27, 30-27, 29-28 yesterday afternoon. Conditioning and experience paid off for Brogan as she was able to control the fight when it went to the ground. Sanchez worked in her stand-up in the last round, landing some shots and leg kicks to seal the deal in the judges' eyes. The loss is Maverick's first of her career, dropping her record to 3-1.
I feel great with my win. I have long-term goals, but for now, I'm just happy with that win. I'm happy with remaining undefeated and coming in here and sharing the ring with an amazing opponent. Thank you, Miranda.
Update now from the micro games in Yap. Our men's national beach volleyball team picked up the 2-set win over host country Yap, 21-18, 21-17 for the bronze medal. Shintaro Okada and Ryan Eugenio represented Guam at this year's micro games. Our men's national basketball team defeated Chuk in the quarterfinals 94-56. Merwin Martin led the way for Team Guam with 18 points off the bench. Guam will face Palau for a chance to advance to the gold medal game and defend their 2014 title. Winner will play the winner between Pohnpei and Republic of the Marshall Islands. On the women's side, Guam remains undefeated and will face Pohnpei in the semis. Winner of this game takes on the winner between Republic of Marshall Islands and Palau for this year's gold medal. That's going to do it for sports. We're back right after this.
As a nurse, I cared for thousands of patients at their time of greatest need. I know how important it is to have our only public hospital accredited. With your help, Josh and I will change our island's approach to healthcare.